That was Bonfire. You say, so I was looking at something that my producer, Junior, sent me. And scientists had recreated and gone back and found a skull and recreated the original man that they believed to be Adam. And lo and behold, Adam looked a lot like 50 Cent. Who knew that Adam looked like the dude who gave us In the Club? The point is that the original man, and that's if you believe in the Bible, Adam was the original man, he looked like me. Now, because Europeans have basically hijacked, the depictions of people in the Bible, we have what we have right now. There's a book called Guns, Germs, and Steel. It's written by a cat named Jared Diamond, and he talks about how Europeans were able to dominate. And they were able to dominate, he surmises, because of guns, germs, and steel. So they had guns that no one else has seen. They had domesticated animals. They had germs that people died from. And they had steel. They had the ability to make that. But they also did something else that the book doesn't talk about. That kind of is what was going on with this when I talked about you about the original depiction. They co-opted Jesus. They co-opted God. What they did was they made God in their image. And so imagine if you were somewhere, somebody showed up on a ship, everybody started dying, they had weapons you'd never seen before, animals you'd never seen before, and they said they were God. What would you believe? The whole notion of white supremacy is based on the fact that on the European depictions of people in the Bible, and they look like Europeans, so obviously God looks like us. What does it say about a people who have had to make God in their image? And what would it say about people if you knew how he looked? Like even right now, if you're a Christian, you have an image of Jesus when you pray. And when you pray, you can pray for salvation, or you can pray over your food, or you can pray for somebody's health, or somebody's career, or whatever you close your eyes and you conjure up, that generally is from Europeans. They gave you that. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, if you believe he existed, in the region of the world he was from, the area he was from, what he ate, what time he lived in, he didn't look like the picture you worship. The thing you close your eyes, the image you close your eyes and see, doesn't look anything like Jesus. Matter of fact, if Jesus came back and saw his popular depiction on the cross, he would wonder who the hell the acrobat was. I died for your sins, not to work at Cirque du Soleil. People be like, I just saw Jesus at the buffet, which is kind of real because he did kind of do the first buffet. It says a lot that somebody makes an image of somebody because they didn't just want to dominate. It wasn't just the guns that would keep you in order. Technology, that weapons change all the time. It wasn't the germs. We have cures for those. It wasn't just the raw materials. Things change. Like I said, what hasn't changed is the idea that God looks like them. God looks like, that's the whole notion of white supremacy. And it's interesting that white supremacists always and often quote the Bible when there was not one white guy in the Bible. What would it say if all of a sudden you knew how he looked? The guy that you worship, what if he looked more like me than Brad Pitt from Legends of the Fall? What if he looked more like the people that you have enslaved and persecuted? What would it say? What does it say about a people that had to make God in their image so they could worship him? Isn't it something how if you look through history, they have always claimed that they love God but act differently than the virtues he extols? It's like they think like a man, act like a woman. Well, talk like a Christian but act like a white man. You cannot understate the value of knowing how you look and who you come from and what station you are in the world. What if all of a sudden, instead of worrying about monuments that are tributes to Confederates, worrying about all those other things, what if we just made the people that we worship look like they actually did? What if right now, instead of closing your eyes and seeing a dude that looked like Michelangelo's nephew, you saw a dude that looked like 50 Cent? You saw a dude that looked like you. It would change things. There's a reason. People say, it doesn't matter what Jesus looked like, it matters what he did. If it didn't matter what he looked like, they wouldn't have changed what he looked like. If all you knew about Jesus was that he looked like us and did all the things, it would change the world. It would change how you see things. It would change how we see ourselves. It would change how they see us. Because the truth of the matter, they co-opted Jesus. It wasn't the guns. It wasn't the germs. It wasn't the steel. They co-opted God. And if you look like God, what would I believe? Even right now, the most fervent of us who are Christians, when you close your eyes, what image do you see? What if that image was you? What would it say about you? What would you feel like? How would that empower you? Let me say this. It matters a lot, and it matters for this reason only. Because what if who you looked up to looked like who you looked down on? That's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.